Alright, so last year, the state of California passed a bill basically saying they're going to withhold funds, tax credits, from studios unless they go super woke. Well, it's now come to fruition as they have held back $150 million in tax credits if studios do not have better ethnic, gender, and racial diversity representation. However, I don't think California thought this through, so let's see what that diversity should really look like. Alright, so the woke activists out there are screaming and yelling to the top of their lungs that, hey, we should have works that represent the way the world is today, the world society is today. It shouldn't just be all white people because there's more than white people. Hey, that's fair. I'll go along with that. So now, based off the most recent census data we have, which is 2022, this isn't some biased this, that, or the other thing. This is real empirical data. There's a margin of error. I understand that. And if you think, oh no, it's rigged, government conspiracy theories, that's your own problem. I'm dealing with reality here. So let's take a look at the ethnic and racial breakdown for the state of California 2022. We've got 41% white, 40% Hispanic, 15% Asian, and only 6% black. Well, that does present quite the conundrum now, doesn't it? Now, based on that information, I would expect every single thing made by Hollywood getting a tax credit from the state of California would have roughly 40%, almost half white, almost half Mexican, and then I would expect to see over twice as many Asians as black, 15% versus 6. In addition to that, if we've got 10 people in a cast, 4 white, 4 Hispanic, 1 Asian, 1 black, and that doesn't even represent it properly, now does it? No. You have a cast of 100? No, of course you don't. In fact, you usually don't have a cast of 10. You usually have a cast of 3, of at least your leads, shall we say. How are you going to break up that demographic? Because honestly, you want to do math, 2 whites and 1 Hispanic, 0 blacks, 0 Asians would meet that representation criteria. That doesn't make sense. Then how can they be represented? You're going to play the game, we're going to follow your rules. But they don't follow their rules, do they? Look at that number for black, 6%. We are inundated. We are flooded with. It is constant and consistent that white characters are swapped out for black characters. The swap out, I've got a huge problem. Most people do. I'm not going to argue that. If it's a new character, original character, I could care less what race it is. It's whoever's the best performer. It's whoever fits the role the best. I totally get that. But again, if we're going to play by your rules, if you are demanding it be representative of what the society is like today, there's your math number, black and white, plain as day, 6%. Think about that, and think about all the movies, all the TV shows that have been released in 2022 where only 6% of the performers black. Not even close. It was triple, quadruple that number. 10 times that. More importantly, and this is the one that kills me because they never like to talk about this, there should have been twice as many Asians as there were black. Was there? Not even close. Fractionally represented less on the other direction. That is to say, the one thing that won't be covered is Asian. Why? Talked about it before, because Asians are successful. That's it. And is that a stereotype? Yeah, it is. I don't care. Because if you're going to have a stereotype, blacks aren't successful, that's a really awful thing. You see, again, the hypocrisy is never. Now, also of particular note and interest is I wanted to take a look at gay representation. I know it's not in the law. I get that. However, if the thrust and the drive is we are supposed to be representing modern audiences, modern America, modern state of California, the way things are in, quote, real life, unquote, then, considering the uptake and the huge swing of gay and lesbian representation in the media, I have to figure that number must be absolutely off the charts. Let's take a look at what the real chart number is. So this is from a recent Gallup poll, and I will immediately kill all your criticism. Oh, it's just a poll. It could be anything. You can change things how you want. You could word the question, blah, 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 blah. Skipping all of that, it's Gallup. They're trusted. They built an entire business identity on trustworthiness. More importantly, and kudos to them, if you could see this, take a look, zoom in, whatever you got to do. They actually told you the question they asked. And the question was, do you personally identify as lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transgender? That's it. Very plain, very simple, not leading, nothing. And they even left it open. They gave quite a few different options. And yet with all that, and with a huge cross-section of the entire United States, all they could come up with is 7.2%. And if you want to play games about, oh, there's tons and they won't admit it, and that's absolutely insane. Even with a margin of error, you are not going to go from 7.2 to some huge number. And on top of all of that, tons of other studies, tons of other polls, tons of other representation have shown that number pretty much be consistent across the board. And there you have it, 7%. Basically means, simple math, there's 10 people in your production, 0 would be gay. Because guess what? 7% of 10 is less than 1, and when you're dealing with whole human beings, less than 1 is 0. Unless, of course, you would like to have, I don't know, 3/5 of a human production? Although you had a problem with that as well, and justifiably so, I might add. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely insane, and this presents the hypocrisy of the entire movement. If you would like greater representation, greater diversity, or whatever else in your product, there's a very simple way to do this. It's the easiest thing in the world, and yet it seems to have been overlooked. Not entirely, because this does occur. But instead of deciding that you are going to hire someone specifically because of their race or sexual orientation, instead of deciding that you are going to specifically race swap an established character, all to make some sort of imaginary point that isn't landing, isn't working. Try this approach. Write characters for original works that are gay, are black, are a mixture, are part of a group, and you might find much greater success than if instead it's just shove on what, as I've now shown, is a clearly disproportionate percent. You can't have 6% of the population black, 7% of the population gay, and movies and television shows where it's 60, 70, 80% every single time. That's the point. And also, my opinion. But what is yours? I would like to know, so let's talk about it. Obey your king. Subscribe to the channel and click the notification icon.